Hi, I'm Kelly Morgan. I'm a health coach for busy overachievers. And speaking of overachievers, many people out there have no idea that their high octane, busy, awesome lives can be sabotaging their health. There's good stress, which drives us to succeed, those things that really push us to the next level. And there's bad stress, like worry and upset. Stress can have both major and minor health effects, and it shows up in our mental, physical, and social aspects of ourselves. Some symptoms of stress are ones you might be familiar with: feeling tense, depression, trouble with memory or concentration, mood issues, negative thinking, and that's just to name a few. Chronic stress without relief increases your risk for a variety of major and minor health issues, as well as safety issues. There's been a proven increase in accidents for those with higher levels of stress. Stress is something to take seriously because it might be normal for us to have it, but it's certainly not healthy or serving you well. Just because you're used to it and your lifestyle is go, 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 doesn't mean it's best for it to be that way. Stress is driven by an imbalance in our lives. Your stress can show up in lots of different ways. It might be acute and time limited, where you just feel overwhelmed and you just want to cry or lock yourself in the bathroom. Or it might be longer term, like a sequence of stressful events or chronic past stressors. Think about if a family member dies and how long it takes for you to just be able to have normal days. Or if you're looking for a job, or if there is some other big crisis of whatever level that just keeps weighing on you. Your stress can be both good and bad. For example, good stress comes from stretching yourself at a new job, or having a new baby, or planning a wedding. These good things that are fun and exciting, but they can really wear you out because you're constantly cycling through thoughts about how to do them, about, what are you going to do? And it creates anxiety that is overall good for us in the end, but it has essentially the same outcome as bad stress, which you're probably more familiar with. That kind of stress comes from bad relationships, overwork, illness, and other negative life events. But when we have too much of either kind of stress, good or bad, over time it can have some major effects on our physical and mental systems. In general, our major stressors come from jobs, illness or disability, money, social obligations, whether it's in the family or it's in your circle of friends. Some ways to prevent stress or manage stress can be really helpful for people. Since I tend to find the overachievers out there, I'm betting you're one too. So you're probably thinking, how the heck am I supposed to get rid of stress? It pretty much is a part of my life. Well, how about we go with manage stress? So here are some ideas for that. Plan ahead and manage your time better. When you have more time to work with, you're less likely to feel overwhelmed. So think about when you're going out to meet somebody and you're running a few minutes late. It's taken too long for you to get the dog to go outside and come back in, or your kids are taking forever, or you're just held up, or you're sitting in a ton of traffic. When you are feeling that time crunch, I bet your stress is in overdrive. Mine would be. In fact, I hate when that happens. So by building in more time and planning better, I found that you can really relieve a lot of that type of stress. So along with that time management and planning, I'd like you to do something a little bit harder. I want you to think about and eliminate the unnecessary parts of your life, including obligations that you don't actually have to be obligated to, social events that don't bring you excitement and joy, leadership positions that aren't really doing anything for you, family events that, I know this one's hard, but the ones that stress you out a lot, and even household clutter. The bottom line here is simplify. Start eliminating things that are unnecessary and try to seek out the good and the fun and the pleasant stuff and fill your life with activities that bring you joy. But also remember to leave some space just to decompress. Now, sure, you have to go to work, but what about these other things you keep jamming your schedule with? People I know, clients, friends, myself, find that often there are ways that you can kind of like streamline your schedule. But once you do that, what the heck do? You then sign up to be a committee chair for something. Or you're just like, oh, sure, I can do that. Oh, I have extra time. And then you get yourself right back to where you were. So when you fill your life with the joyful and with things that you enjoy doing, remember that you do need to leave some wiggle room here. Leave some space just to relax or, leave it a little bit open. Next, I'm going to ask you to follow on with that and do something that's a little bit scary for a lot of us and be hyper protective of your work-life balance. Now, there are times in our lives when we have to hustle a little bit harder. We have to work some longer hours, and I totally get that. I understand. I own a business. I'm with you on that. But that shouldn't be the norm. It's just not sustainable. When you find yourself in those times of your life, consider the payoff for those long hours. Are you spending long hours because you were inefficient during work hours? Or do you have so much work because you keep saying yes and you haven't told anyone that you're overwhelmed? Be open with yourself and others and consider the payoff for what you're doing. Another very important thing for you to do is to know your personal signs of stress and catch it early before it's out of control. Sometimes you can just see it in your friends' eyes when they're stressed. Even if they don't talk about it, they're smiling. Sometimes we can see that with people. Observe how it is for your own reactions in stressful situations. What do you tend to do? Do you overeat? Do you get temperamental? Do you find your shoulders stuck up by your ears? That's mine. Do you grit your teeth? Know your warning signs. When you know those warning signs, you can pause, stop, and figure out how to manage things. Take a deep breath, prioritize, whatever that may be. But when you know your warning signs, it's this sort of early warning system before you get overwhelmed. And be really in tune with yourself for that. Next, make a prioritized list that covers your work, your lifestyle, your family responsibilities, all those things. Put everything that must be done at the top. And by must, I mean like the world will stop spinning, you'll lose your job, your family will be in disarray for real. All those things that absolutely must be done. Then, you can kind of like a little bit lower than that stuff that really should be done. Start to see where you find space in your schedule. What doesn't have to be done? What do you hate to do that you could outsource? Maybe you have a friend who loves doing things, or maybe your kids could help you out. Maybe you don't need to do something at all. Maybe you could hire help, like maids or grocery delivery. Be creative about how to create some space. And remember, once you create that space, do not immediately fill it. I know that's a temptation. It is my temptation at all times. The second there's a free moment, I fill it. Allow yourself breathing room for relaxation. Build in that downtime. And with that, you can make your fun time. You can make room for hobbies, naps, whatever it is. But I challenge you to leave that time open. Because once you schedule in your fun, suddenly it's not fun anymore. Back when I was in college, one of my sorority sisters called one of our big house outings when everybody was stressed, she called it mandatory fun. Do not schedule your mandatory fun. It is definitely not fun at that point. So try to leave some of that downtime open. Also with this, I want you to then consider, now that you have these open spaces in your schedule, how you can engage in only the necessary things in your life, relationships, activities, all that. And necessary here can also mean necessary for your sanity and happiness, Get rid of those people in your life who are just these emotional vampires, where you go out to lunch with them and you leave exhausted because they've just told you all their problems. They're constantly a downer. This doesn't mean don't be a good friend. If your friend is going through something, go through it with them. You go be a good friend. I'm talking about those people where it's like Debbie Downer every time you see them. Get rid of those people. They'll be fine. They're not your problem. Don't waste time feeling guilty about getting rid of people who don't bring you any excitement or happiness. Be sure that you choose the social obligations, the community and volunteer things that you'd like to do, and find all that is worth saying yes to because it's fulfilling. It brings you something positive. And then practice saying no to the rest. I know that's hard, and I know it's going to take a lot of really experimentation and trying it out. But this is your time. Nobody else is entitled to it. I'll see you in the next video.